Tonight, we begin at the only place we can ever truly begin. We begin at the foundation of all reality. Before we can speak of assumption, before we can speak of success, or of health, or of abundance, we must first confront the fundamental error in which all of mankind is asleep. This error is the belief in a second cause. It is the belief that the world outside of you is the source of your experience. Man has been taught to believe that he is a victim of circumstances, a product of his environment, a pawn in a game played by forces external to his own mind. He looks at the world and sees facts. He sees economic conditions. He sees a fluctuating market. He sees the balance in his bank account. And he believes these things are the cause of his state of being. But I say to you, this is the great illusion. The world you see is not the cause. It is the effect. The circumstances of your life are not the masters of your consciousness. Your consciousness is the master of your circumstances. The one and only reality, the first principle, and the only cause is your own wonderful human imagination, your consciousness. That which the ancients called God, and that which you call I am. This is the bedrock. Until this is accepted, not merely as a pleasant idea, but as the absolute operative law of the universe, you will continue to walk in circles, praying to a God that does not exist, and remaining forever in bondage to the shadows you yourself have cast. We are here to discuss the frequency of money. But what is money? Let us be perfectly clear. Man has become an idol worshiper. He worships the symbols of wealth. He chases after paper, after metal coins, after digital numbers on a screen. He believes these things are money. He believes these things are the goal. This is the second great error. Money, as you perceive it, is not the reality. It is the symbol. It is the shadow. It is the evidence of an internal state of being. You do not chase money. The very act of chasing money is the most profound confession of your lack of it. When you pursue something, you are making a powerful, unwavering declaration to the universe. You are declaring, I do not have this. It is separate from me. It is over there, and I am over here. It is fleeing from me, and I must run to catch it. And the world, which is your perfect servant, the mirror to your mind, hears your command and responds. The world has no choice. It must obey your dominant assumption. If you assume lack, if you assume separation, if you assume the chase, the world must dutifully present you with a reality of chasing. You will find that the harder you run, the faster it flees. You will be given endless reasons to keep chasing. This is the law. You must stop the chase. The moment you cease the pursuit, the moment you stop looking outside of yourself for that which you desire, you have taken the first step toward true liberation. Money is not external. It is not an object to be obtained. It is a state of consciousness to be embodied. You do not get wealth. You become wealth. What is a state of consciousness? It is the sum total of your beliefs, your feelings, your dominant assumptions. It is the I amness from which you view the world. You are at this very moment living from a state. For many, that state is I am lacking, or I am struggling, or I am hoping one day to be. You must move your dwelling place. You must move from the state of lack into the state of abundance. You do not do this by changing the external world. You do this by changing your internal assumption. The external world, I repeat, is only a projection of the internal. It is shaped entirely by belief, by feeling, and by the assumptions you hold as true. Every single experience, from the grandest triumph to the most trivial annoyance, is birthed from your own inner conviction that it is so. To embody the frequency of money is to assume, without doubt, without argument, that wealth is your natural, God-given state. It is not hoping. Hope is a beggar. Hope admits it does not yet have. Hope is a confession of lack. It is not wishing. Wishing is passive. It implies a power greater than yourself that might or might not grant your request. It is knowing. It is being. When the mind is fully convinced of its own wealth, it effortlessly draws money into its experience. Notice the word effortlessly. The universe does not operate through struggle. Struggle, force, anxiety, and strain are reflections of an inner conflict. There are the friction that arises when you try to force the external world to change, while your internal state remains one of lack. It is like trying to bend steel with your bare hands. But when you operate from the principle of consciousness, there is no struggle. It is not force. It is alignment. When you change the state, the external world must conform. It is as natural as your reflection in a mirror conforming to the expression on your face. The unseen world of consciousness determines all that is seen and experienced. Therefore, you do not need to seek money as if it were separate from you. You must only recognize that all wealth, all ideas, all substance, all opportunities already exist within you, within your I am. By claiming, in feeling, I am wealthy, the unseen begins its mysterious work of shaping the visible world to match your claim. This brings us to the most critical point of this entire section. It is the rock upon which most men falter. The feeling of wealth must be felt as real before it is seen as real. You must feel the security. You must feel the freedom. You must feel the ease. You must feel the gratitude of possession. Now, while the senses, while your bank account, while the evidence of your eyes shouts liar, you must remain faithful to the unseen state. If you look outside for validation, you are lost. If you perform this inner work and then check the outside world to see if it is working, you have demonstrated your unbelief. You are still bound to the illusion of lack. You are still honoring the shadows as your God. Imagine a man standing before a mirror. His face is locked in a deep frown. He desires to see a smile. So he begs the reflection, smile for me. Please smile. Just smile. And then I will feel happy. He pleads with the reflection. He bargains with it. He shouts at it, why will you not smile? The mirror, being a faithful reflector, can only frown back at him perfectly, unceasingly. The reflection has no choice. It has no will of its own. It cannot initiate action. It can only reflect. The man becomes frustrated. He thinks, perhaps if I smash the mirror, a smiling face will appear. But you and I know this is insanity. You are that man. The world is that mirror. Your external reality is only a reflection of your dominant inner state. The world cannot smile upon you until you smile first. It cannot give you wealth until you first feel wealthy. To look at your empty bank account and feel poor is to be the man frowning at the mirror, confirming the frown. You are trapped in a feedback loop of your own creation. The only way to break the cycle is to do what seems to the unenlightened mind insane. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must be the one to smile first. You must stand in the midst of your lack, in the face of contrary evidence, and quietly, confidently assume the feeling of your wealth. You must feel the comfort. You must feel the security. You must walk as though you were already the person you desire to be. When you do this, you are not pretending. You are not deceiving yourself. You are being loyal to a higher reality. You are impressing upon your subconscious mind, the creative matrix of all things, a new truth. And that subconscious mind, which knows only the present, accepts your new feeling state as fact and begins to rearrange the shadows of your world to conform to it. Money, then, is an energy, and you must match its frequency to experience its abundance. What is this frequency? It is not a mystical vibration. It is the frequency of knowing. It is the absence of doubt. It is the feeling of ease. It is the mental diet you feed yourself. The mind must accept wealth as natural, as effortless, and as present. Every time you affirm in feeling, I am, in the frequency of money, you are conditioning your mind to reflect this new abundance. But this is not about repeating words mindlessly. The world does not respond to your words. It responds to your conviction. A man can say, I am wealthy 10,000 times, but if he feels I am poor while he says it, he will only experience more poverty. Feeling is the secret. The subconscious does not accept the word. It accepts the feeling behind the word. The world bends to your inner convictions. It does not resist. It only reflects. When you truly feel wealthy, the world responds accordingly. This is the true nature of money. It is not an acquisition. It is a revelation. It is not something you get. It is something you are. Your entire reality is structured by your assumptions. If you assume wealth is difficult to attain, the world must confirm it for you. You will meet people who tell you it is difficult. You will find the doors are closed. You will experience setbacks. If you assume money flows to you effortlessly, the world must confirm that assumption. You will find yourself in the right place at the right time. You will have ideas that open new avenues. You will find that people are eager to help you. The universe does not judge. It simply reflects. To change your financial reality, you must therefore change your internal state. You must stop honoring the facts of the senses and start honoring the truth of your imagination. This is the great shift. You stop being a victim of the world and you become its creator. You stop being a reflection and you become the image itself. This is the foundation. Without this, all else is sand. When we return, we will discuss the mechanism of this change. We will discuss the law by which you impress this new state upon the mind. We will discuss the law of assumption. In our last discussion, we established the first principle, that your consciousness, your I am, is the one and only reality, and that money, the thing you have been taught to pursue, is not an external object but an internal state of being, a shadow cast by your own mind. Now, we move from the what to the how. If consciousness is the only cause, how does one use this power to change the world of shadows? How does a man move from the state of poverty to the state of wealth? He does it by the law of assumption. This is where many have stumbled, for they have confused this law with the shallow practices of positive thinking. They believe the law is about repeating words, chanting affirmations, or maintaining a fragile, forced optimism. This is a profound misunderstanding. Positive thinking, as it is commonly practiced, is often an act of futility. It is a man in a prison cell, looking at the bars and trying to convince himself he is free. His very effort confirms his belief in the prison. The law of assumption is not a fight against your present reality. It is a quiet, complete acceptance of a new reality. An assumption, though it may be false to your senses, though it may be denied by your reason, if it is persisted in, will harden into fact. This is the great secret. The world does not respond to your desires. It does not respond to your hopes. It responds only to your dominant assumption. What are you assuming right now? Your life this very moment is the perfect externalized expression of your dominant assumptions. You are not wealthy because you want to be. You are what you are because you're assuming you are what your senses tell you that you are. You have yielded your creative power, your I am, to the tyranny of the shadows. To change your financial reality, you must therefore change your internal state. You must dare to assume that you are already the man, the woman you wish to be. There is no separation between cause and effect. They are one. In the world of Caesar, in the world of shadows, you see a delay. You plant a seed, and you wait for the harvest. But in the world of consciousness, the realm of cause, the cause and the effect are a single, completed event. The moment you truly assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the harvest is already yours. The creation is finished. This is why the feeling of wealth must become dominant before it can manifest externally. You do not wait for proof to believe. Your belief is the proof. Let me repeat this, for it is the rock upon which most men break. You are not waiting for evidence to feel wealthy. You must feel wealthy in the absence of evidence, for the evidence to appear. The man who looks at his empty pockets and says, "I will believe I am wealthy when my pockets are full," is the man frowning at the mirror, demanding the reflection smile first. He will wait forever. The man who understands the law stands before that same mirror of his life. He sees the empty pockets. He sees the facts of his lack. He acknowledges them as shadows of a past assumption. And then he dares to do the insane thing. He smiles. He assumes the inner feeling of his wish fulfilled. He feels the ease, the security, the quiet joy of already being the man he desires to be. And the mirror of the world, having no will of its own, no choice in the matter, begins to tremble and conform. It must reflect the new face he presents to it. Reality always conforms to assumption. When you shift your inner state, the outer world must follow. The invisible precedes the visible, always. This is the entire creative process. You are not creating something from nothing. All creation is already finished. All states, poverty, wealth, health, sickness, exist now as possibilities within your I am. Your only work is to occupy the state you desire. How do you occupy a state? Through feeling. You must feel your way into the state of wealth. You close your eyes to the facts of the world, and you open your mind to the truth of the state. What would it feel like if you were right now financially secure? Feel that. Feel the relief. Feel the freedom. Feel the security. Dwell in that feeling. Let it become your dominant mood. This brings us to the most practical and for many the most difficult part of this law. You do not need to analyze how money will come. This desire to know the how is the voice of doubt. It is the finite, rational mind trying to build a bridge that only the infinite, your I am, can build. Your rational mind, looking at your present, can see no way. It says, you have no job. You have no connections. The economy is poor. It sees only roadblocks. But your subconscious mind, your creative self, sees paths you cannot imagine. Faith in its presence is enough. The subconscious mind, the womb of creation, accepts whatever is impressed upon it. And it is impressed not by your words, but by your feeling, your conviction. When you impress upon it the absolute fact of your wealth, the subconscious accepts this new self-concept as its command. It then begins to move the world to make it so. It will orchestrate a bridge of incidents, a series of events, meetings, ideas, and opportunities that seem perfectly natural to lead you to the fulfillment of your assumed state. Your only responsibility is to remain faithful to the end result. You live from the end, not for the end. Living for the end means you are still in the state of lack, hoping to get there. Living from the end means you are already there in imagination, and you're simply watching the world catch up. When one assumes I am in the frequency of money, they bypass limitation. They are no longer operating from their finite, limited self. They are operating from their infinite I am. Therefore, your mind is the only limitation. And when it is shifted, so is the external world. This is why there is no struggle in true manifestation. What is struggle? What is that anxiety, that effort, that strain you feel when you try to make money? Struggle is only a reflection of inner resistance. It is the friction caused by a house divided. It is your desire for wealth fighting against your assumption of lack. You want one thing, but you believe another. When your desire and your assumption are one, when you no longer want to be wealthy, but you assume you are wealthy, the struggle ceases. The resistance vanishes. Money flows where there is no resistance. It flows where belief in its presence is unwavering. It flows to the one who is not chasing it, but is it. It is drawn to the man who is already, in his own mind, the embodiment of wealth. This is not philosophy for a classroom. This is the operating manual for your life. You have been given a power that is absolute, but you have been taught to give it away, to honor the shadows, to believe in second causes. Tonight, you must reclaim it. You must stop thinking of the end and start thinking from lay end. How does a wealthy man think? He does not think about getting money. He thinks from the security of having money. He makes plans. He thinks of his life, his projects, his family, all from the premise of abundance. You must do the same. You must begin to revise your inner world. You must saturate your mind with the feeling of being wealthy. And you must persist. You must make this new feeling your home, your default state. If you do this, if you truly capture the feeling of your wish fulfilled and remain loyal to that assumption, the how will take care of itself. The doors will open. The ideas will come. The money will appear. It is not magic. It is law. It is the unchangeable, impersonal law of your own consciousness. As we continue, we will explore the great illusion that keeps men bound to this struggle. We will explore the illusion of effort. We have established the foundation. Your I am is the only reality. And we have established the law of assumption, by which you occupy a new state of being. Now, we must confront the great idol that mankind worships. It is the single greatest barrier to the law of assumption. It is the belief that has kept generations in bondage, the belief that has sanctified poverty and glorified struggle. This idol is the belief in effort. You have been taught from your first breath that you must earn your right to exist. You have been told that success is the result of hard work, that wealth is the reward for toil, and that God favors the one who struggles. This is the most profound and tragic illusion. The concept of effort, as you understand it, the strain, the anxiety, the forcing of will, the hustle, is a confession of unbelief. It is the anthem of the man who does not understand that consciousness is the only reality. Struggle is a form of blasphemy, for it implies that your I am is not all-powerful. It implies that creation is not finished. It implies that you are a servant, a slave to the shadows, who must toil and sweat to convince the world to give you what you want. But I say to you, money does not come from work. It comes from alignment. This is a truth so simple that the complicated rational mind recoils from it. It wishes to argue. It points to the man in the field, the man in the factory, the executive in the office, and says, look, they are working and they are paid. Therefore, the work is the cause. This is the logic of a child who sees the sun rise when the rooster crows and assumes the rooster caused the dawn. You are confusing the channel with the source. The source of all wealth is your consciousness. It is the state you occupy. Work, the physical or mental action you perform in the world of Caesar, is only an avenue, a means through which the wealth you've already assumed is materialized. It is not and can never be the source of it. If you believe that your job is the source of your income, You have made your job your God. You are in bondage to it. You fear its loss, you are subject to its whims, and you are limited by its definition of your value. But when you realize your consciousness is the source, the job becomes merely one of many possible channels. You have liberated yourself. You may continue in that same job, but the entire relationship has changed. You are no longer working for money. You are working from the state of wealth. You are allowing the wealth, which is already yours in consciousness, to express itself through that particular avenue. And you will find, mysteriously, that when this inner shift occurs, the avenue itself changes. Promotions appear. Opportunities arise. Or you are guided effortlessly to a new, more abundant channel altogether. The illusion of effort is born from the state of lack. When you are in the state of I am lacking, you must struggle. Your entire world is organized around that assumption. You must force things because you are operating against the grain of the universe. You are the man frowning in the mirror, trying to force the reflection to smile. It is exhausting and it is futile. Wealth is not something to pursue. It is something to embody. The pursuer is always in a state of lack. The chaser, as we discussed, confesses he does not have. The man who embodies wealth is the man who has assumed it. He is the king. A king does not try to be king. He is king. He does not work hard at being royal. His actions, his thoughts, his entire demeanor flow from the unwavering assumption of his sovereignty. This is the state you must occupy. You must stop being the servant chasing wealth and become the master who commands it. How is this embodiment achieved? We return to the great secret. Feeling is the secret. Without the feeling of wealth, you cannot experience it. You can repeat words for 1,000 years. You can work your fingers to the bone. But if you feel poor, if you feel lack, if you feel the strain, you will only create more poverty, more lack, and more strain. The only effort required of you is the mental effort to remain loyal to your assumption. The only work is to feel the wish fulfilled, to capture the feeling of what it would be like to be wealthy, and to make that feeling your home. This is the true work. It is not done with your hands. It is done with your mind. It is not done in the world. It is done in your imagination. Money is drawn to certainty. It flows to the one who is certain of its presence. It is repelled by the one who is needy, the one who is anxious, the one who is trying. Think of it this way. The world is an ocean of abundance. Your consciousness is the cup. The state of lack is a cup held upside down. You can stand in the middle of a rainstorm of wealth, but your cup remains empty. You try to catch the rain, you work hard at it, you struggle to scoop it up, but you only catch a few drops. The state of embodiment is the cup turned right side up. You simply are. You assume your wealth. You turn your consciousness to receive. You stand in the same ocean, and it fills your cup effortlessly to overflowing. The work was not in catching the rain, it was in turning the cup. This turning of the cup is the acceptance of your wealth as a fact before you see it. It is the quiet, confident feeling of knowing. There is no lack except in the belief of lack. There is no delay except in the assumption of delay. The moment you believe in effort, you are creating delay. You are saying, I have assumed wealth. Now I must go and work for it. You have just introduced the condition. You have just pushed your desire into the future. But the man who understands the law knows that the assumption is the fact. The creation is finished. He is wealthy now. He does not work to become wealthy. He lives, acts, and works because he is wealthy. His actions are the natural, effortless unfolding of his state. They are inspired. They are not born of desperation, but of expression. The mind must accept the presence of money as if it were already a fact. Let us be practical. What does this mean for the man who must go to his job tomorrow? He must go, but he goes with a new mind. He does not go as a slave to earn a wage. He goes as a master, an embodiment of wealth, allowing his wealth to flow through that channel. He performs his tests, but he performs them from a state of security. He does not see his boss as his source. He sees his I am as his source. He does not see his paycheck as his prize. He sees it as the evidence of the wealth he already is. This inner shift is everything. The world is not random. It is perfectly organized according to your belief. If you assume poverty, you will unconsciously create circumstances that reinforce it. You will make poor decisions. You will see only limitation. You will meet people who confirm your lack. If you assume wealth, you will unconsciously see evidence of it everywhere. You will make wise decisions. You will see opportunity where others see none. You will meet people who reflect your abundance. Your outer world does not determine your inner reality. Your inner reality creates your outer world. Therefore, the only effort is to change the assumption. The illusion of effort is the belief that you must change the outside first. It is the belief that you must move the shadows. It is the belief that you must force the reflection in the mirror to change. The truth is that you must only change yourself. You must change the state from which you operate. Stop pursuing, stop chasing, stop struggling. Stop honoring the gods of hard work and effort. They are false idols. Your only responsibility is to embody, to be the person you desire to be now. Feel what you would feel. Think from that state. Walk as that person. And you will find that the world, which is only yourself pushed out, will rearrange itself effortlessly to reflect the truth of your new assumption. The work will become joyful. The avenues will open. The money will appear. It does not come from the work. It comes from you. It comes from your I am. This is the freedom you were promised. But you must be bold enough to accept it. You must be willing to abandon your most cherished illusion, the illusion of effort. We have now dismantled the great idol of effort. You are beginning to separate the shadow from the substance. This is not philosophy. It is the mechanism of creation. If you are committed to truly mastering this mechanism, to moving from a life of struggle to one of effortless alignment, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. This space is dedicated to the law and the power of your I am. Subscribe now, join us, and let us continue this journey into the only reality. Now we must face the true and only adversary. We have now traveled far. We have laid the immovable foundation, which is that your I am, your own wonderful human imagination, is the one and only reality. We have established the law by which this reality operates, the law of assumption, where you move into the feeling of your wish fulfilled. And we have torn down the false idol of the world, the illusion of effort, understanding that alignment, not struggle, is the only creative power. And now we arrive at the great question, the question that burns in the heart of every man who has heard this truth. I have tried, I have assumed, I have felt my wish fulfilled. Why then does my world remain unchanged? Why does my lack persist? Tonight we confront the adversary. We open the door and look upon the face of the one and only enemy you will ever have. This enemy is not the economy. It is not your employer. It is not your education. It is not your past. The only adversary is the contradiction within your own mind. You are a house divided against itself, and a house divided cannot stand. This is the heart of the problem. This is the rock upon which all men shatter their dreams. They have not understood the most profound, most absolute, most uncompromising statement ever uttered. You cannot serve two masters. It is not a suggestion. It is not a piece of moral advice. It is a fundamental, impersonal, and unchangeable law of consciousness. You cannot serve the master of I am wealthy, and at the same time serve the master of I am, afraid of the bills. You cannot serve the God of your assumption and the mammon of your senses. But this is precisely what mankind does. A man hears this truth and becomes excited. He goes into the silence, as we have taught. He closes his eyes to the world of shadows. He dares to assume that he's already secure, that he's already wealthy. For 5 glorious minutes, he feels the reality of it. He feels the relief. He feels the joy. He is, for that moment, in the state. He has impressed the subconscious mind. Then, he opens his eyes. He gets up. He walks into his life. He sees the unpaid bill on his table. And what does he do? He bows. He honors that bill as his master. He says, I felt wealthy, but you are the truth. His heart sinks. The anxiety returns. The feeling of lack, which is his true master, reclaims its throne. He has just served his other master. He has taken the creative seed he has just planted and poured acid upon it. He has taken his assumption and cancelled it. Do you see? You cannot affirm abundance in the morning and then spend your day thinking from a state of lack. You cannot claim I am wealthy while secretly fearing loss, doubting opportunities, or complaining about your circumstances. These are not harmless thoughts. These contradictory thoughts, these worries, these doubts, these fears, they are creative acts. They are assumptions. They are powerful, living prayers for the thing you do not want. Every time you worry about money, you are in the act of assuming lack. You are impressing your subconscious mind with the state of I am poor. You cannot have it both ways. Your subconscious mind, the creative power of God, is not a negotiator. It does not average your thoughts. It does not say, well, he spent 5 minutes in the state of wealth, but 12 hours in the state of lack. So I will give him a little bit of money, but make him struggle for it. No. It responds to your dominant assumption. It responds to the master you truly serve. Who is your true master? Look at your world. Your world is your answer. Your world is the perfect, unerring reflection of your dominant inner state. If you see evidence of lack, it is only because you are on some level still assuming lack. You are still, in your heart, convinced that lack is more real than your assumption of abundance. This inner contradiction is the only resistance. It is the friction that keeps your desires at bay. You must therefore decide. This is not a passive game. This is the great adventure of your life. You must make a choice. This day, whom will you serve? Will you serve the evidence of your senses, the shadows of your past? Or will you serve the truth of your imagination, the reality of your I am? There is no halfway alignment. You cannot be sort of wealthy, just as you cannot be sort of pregnant. You either are or you are not. The moment you fully accept your wealth in consciousness, the moment you are no longer divided, you become it. And when you become it, when you are fully convinced, what happens? Your entire inner world shifts. You no longer think in terms of lack. You no longer question if money will come. Why would you question what you already have? You know it already has. Do you right now question if you are human? Do you walk around hoping to be human? Do you affirm that you are human? No. You simply are. It is a settled fact. You move, think, and act from that assumption. This is the state you must achieve with your wealth. It must become a settled, unquestioned fact in your mind. When you reach this point of non-contradiction, you no longer worry about financial security, for you are the embodiment of wealth itself. The need vanishes. The chase which we spoke of in part 1 ceases. The struggle which we spoke of in part 3 becomes impossible. The feeling of financial ease must dominate your every thought, your every action, your every expectation. And how do you achieve this? How do you overcome a lifetime of contradictory thinking? You do it like going on a strict mental diet. You must become the vigilant watchman at the gate of your mind. Just as a man recovering from an illness would refuse to eat food that is poison, you must refuse to entertain any thought that denies your assumption. The moment you catch yourself in a thought of worry, in a feeling of lack, you must stop. Do not fight the thought. Do not give it your energy. Simply turn your attention away from it. You turn your back on the shadow, and you return to your master. You return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. You must do this not just once, but relentlessly. 70 times 7. You must starve the old man of lack. You must give him no food. And you must feed the new man, the man of wealth, every moment of your day. Every thought, every feeling, every inner conversation must align with the reality you have assumed. You must stop having inner conversations about poverty. Stop rehearsing arguments about bills. Stop imagining negative outcomes. Instead, you must live in your mind as the man you desire to be. What would your inner conversations be if you were already wealthy? Have those conversations. What would you be feeling right now? Feel that. This is not pretending. This is not self-deception. This is loyalty. It is loyalty to the only reality, the reality of your imagination, over the illusion of the senses. The external world is never first. It is always second. It is the faithful mirror to your dominant assumption. Do not be intimidated by the shadow. Do not look at your present facts and surrender. Those facts are dead. They are the crystallized residue of your old assumptions, your old contradictions. They have no power over you unless you give it to them. The moment you shift your assumption and remain loyal to it, the evidence must change. The mirror must reflect your new face. This is the great battle. It is not fought in the world. It is fought within you. It is the battle between your new assumption and your old habits of thought. Therefore, you must release all focus on what currently exists and dwell entirely in the reality of your financial abundance. You must live as if it were an unquestionable fact. This is not a burden. This is your liberation. The mind is always creating. The only question is, what is it creating? If it creates from the awareness of wealth, wealth appears. If it creates from the awareness of lack, lack appears. This is not chance. This is law. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot be wealthy and simultaneously entertain thoughts of poverty. Your only work is to unify your mind, to make your assumption of wealth the only master, the only reality, the only truth. When you have done this, you have done all that is required. The world will then conform, naturally and effortlessly. But this requires a commitment. It requires a persistence that we shall discuss next. We have come to the heart of the matter. We have laid the foundation that your I am is the only reality. We have established the law of assumption as the creative mechanism. We have dismantled the idol of physical effort, and we have faced the only adversary, the inner contradiction, the divided mind. So now, what is to be done? You have identified the enemy. You have seen how you serve two masters. How then do you cast out the usurper? How do you unify the mind and make your new assumption the only master? This brings us to the real work. When I speak of work, I am not speaking of the illusion of effort we've already shattered. I am not speaking of struggle or toil or the sweat of your brow. That is the work of the shadow world, the work of the slave. The work I speak of is the only effort required of you. It is the mental work. It is the discipline of persistence. This persistence is the one and only price of admission to the state you desire. What is this persistence? It is not a grim, joyless struggle. It is not a fight. It is an unwavering, quiet loyalty to the unseen reality. This is the work you must live in the end. This is perhaps the most profound statement you will ever hear. You do not think about the end. You must think from the end. Let us be perfectly clear on this, for this is where the world fails. Thinking of the end is separation. It is standing in your state of lack, looking across a vast chasm at your desire over there. I want to be wealthy. I hope to be secure. One day I will be free. This is the language of the chaser, the language of the one who lacks. Thinking from the end is embodiment. It is to mentally occupy the state of your wish fulfilled. It is to stand in the state of wealth and look back at your old life of lack as a memory, a shadow that has passed. The real work is to make this new state your permanent home. Most men treat their assumption as a vacation home. They visit it for 5 minutes in the morning. They feel the thrill of wealth, the joy of security. They enjoy the idea of it. Then they lock the door and return to their true home, the state of I am lacking. They return to their worries, their fears, their inner conversations about problems, and they wonder why the new state does not manifest. You cannot visit. You must move in. You must live mentally in the state where your wealth is already an unquestioned reality. How do you do this? You do it by feeling. What would it feel like if it were true right now? You must capture that specific feeling, that mood, that inner conviction, and you must persist in that feeling. This persistence is the work. And now we must address the great stumbling block for the rational mind. The moment you begin to live in the end, your rational mind, the servant of your senses, will scream at you. He will demand to know. How? How will the money come? You have no job. Your investments are failing. The economy is terrible. Be realistic. This question, how is the serpent in your garden? It is the voice of doubt. It is the contradiction which we spoke of in part 4, attempting to reclaim its throne. The moment you entertain the how, you have fallen from the state. You have admitted you do not have it. You are back to being the chaser. The how is not your concern. Your responsibility is to assume the end. The how is the business of your subconscious mind, your I am, your creative power. Your finite, rational mind can only see the pathways of its own past. It is blind. But your infinite I am sees pathways you cannot conceive of. It knows the routes. It has the means, the ways and means you know not of. When you successfully impress upon your subconscious the fact of your wealth, by feeling it as real, by persisting in that feeling, your subconscious mind accepts this as its command. It then takes upon itself the entire burden of the how. It will construct what I call a bridge of incidents. It will orchestrate a series of events, meetings, ideas, and opportunities that will appear perfectly natural, perfectly logical in hindsight, to lead you to the physical manifestation of your assumed state. Your only work is to remain faithful to the end. If you do, the how will take care of itself. This is why the mind must be the cause and the world the effect. What you assume to be true must be reflected back. This is a law. It is not a suggestion. It must be reflected. So, the real work is to change your mental habits. You have a lifetime of the habit of thinking that wealth is distant. This habit pushes it away. You must now cultivate the new habit of thinking that wealth is already here. This new habit draws it closer. How do you break a habit? Through vigilance, through persistence. You must abandon all thoughts of lack. Notice, I did not say fight all thoughts of lack. To fight a thought is to give it your energy. To wrestle with a problem is to make it real. You do not fight the shadows in a room. You simply turn on the light. When a thought of lack enters your mind, a worry about a bill, a fear of the future, you must not engage it. Do not argue with it. Do not analyze it. You simply turn away. You take your attention from it. It is a shadow. It is part of the old man, the old state you've decided to leave. You must be vigilant with your thought. Your inner world is the architect of your reality. The work is this. The moment you catch yourself feeling lack or worrying or doubting, you must in that very instant stop and return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. You must do this 50 times a day, 100 times, 1,000 times. This is the persistence. This is the work. This is the effort that is required. It is not a physical effort. It is a mental, disciplined loyalty. Every moment you spend in the awareness of wealth strengthens its presence. Every moment you spend in the awareness of lack strengthens its presence. You are always creating. You are always assuming. The only question is what you are assuming. The real work is to make your assumption of financial abundance your automatic, dominant, natural state. The habit of thinking I am poor took years to build. The habit of thinking I am wealthy may not take years, but it requires the same persistence to establish. This is the great secret. You are not becoming wealthy. You are only realizing the wealth that is already inherent within you. You are already that which you seek. The I am is already all things. Your work is simply to select the state you desire, to occupy it in feeling, and to persist in that occupancy until it becomes your natural way of being. You persist until you no longer need to persist. You persist until the feeling of wealth is so natural to you that it's no longer an effort at all. It is simply who you are. This is the work. This is the persistence. This is the meaning of living in the end. When you have achieved this, when your loyalty to the unseen state is greater than your loyalty to the seen world, the manifestation is inevitable. We have now walked the path. We have laid the foundation that your consciousness, your I am, is the only reality. We have established the law of assumption as the creative principle. We have dismantled the great idol of physical effort. We have faced the inner adversary of contradiction. And we have defined the one true work, the mental persistence required to live in the end. Now we must discuss the law itself. We must look into the face of this silent, impartial, and all-powerful servant. For this truth is not philosophy. It is not a hopeful theory for a desperate world. It is law. It is as impersonal, as certain, and as dependable as the law of gravity. Gravity does not care if you are a good man or a bad man. If you step from a height, it will operate. This law is the same. It does not judge you. It does not measure your deservingness. It simply and perfectly reflects back to you the truth of what you assume you are. This is not a law you use and then turn off. It is operating on you at this very second. It has been operating on you every moment of your life. Your entire world, this very moment, is the perfect operation of this law, reflecting the dominant assumptions you have held until now. You have been using this power perfectly, though perhaps unconsciously, to create the very limitations you now despise. The law is not your enemy. It is your most obedient servant. It has been faithfully giving you exactly what you have, in conviction ordered. Tonight, we cease to be unconscious victims of the law, and we become its conscious masters. The law does not operate on wishing. It is not a benevolent deity you must plead with. It is not about asking for money. It is about assuming its presence now. You do not beg the mirror to change. You change your face. You do not beg for what you already have. The very act of begging, of wishing, is a powerful assumption of lack. And the law, in its perfect impersonal fidelity, will simply give you more of the lack you are assuming. The law only hears your I am. It does not hear I want to be. It only registers I am. The dominant feeling, the dominant assumption is the key. We have spoken of the divided mind, the two masters. The law operates by responding only to the dominant master. There is no lack in this world, except in the belief in lack. And there is no waiting, no delay, except in the assumption of waiting. This is the great secret of its operation. The law is instantaneous. The creation is finished. The moment you truly assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, it is done in the realm of consciousness, which is the only reality. The delay you experience in the world of shadows is not the law being slow. It is not a test of your patience. The delay is only the time you take to reach the point of conviction. Reality moves as swiftly as your conviction allows. The gap is not in creation. The gap is in your belief. The moment you remove all doubt, the moment you're no longer divided, as we spoke of in part 4, the manifestation is instant. The world must change. How does it operate? How does this assumption, this inner feeling, translate into the hard cash you desire? The law operates through your subconscious mind. Your subconscious is the womb of creation. It is the impersonal, creative soil. It does not argue. It does not question. It accepts what is impressed upon it. Your dominant feeling is the seed. When you, through your persistence, as we discussed in part 5, successfully plant the seed of I am wealthy into the subconscious accepts it as fact. It does not differentiate between a real experience and an imagined one. To the subconscious, the feeling is the fact. Once this seed is accepted, the law begins its work. It moves the entire world, if necessary, to bring your assumption to pass. It opens the doors. It arranges the chance meetings. It delivers the lucky idea. It is effortless. To be in the frequency of money is simply to embody a deep sense of security and ease. It is to move through life knowing that wealth is ever present, requiring no effort to obtain. This is why struggle, as we dismantled in part 3, repels abundance. Struggle is a state of mind. It is a powerful negative assumption. It is a prayer for difficulty. And the law, being impersonal, hears your assumption of difficulty and must reflect it back to you. Those who are truly wealthy, those who are aligned with this law, are not in a constant chase. They reside in a state of expectancy. The feeling of already having is the magnet that draws financial prosperity. The subconscious does not respond to your physical effort. It responds to your conviction. If you assume money flows easily, it must. If you assume it is hard to obtain, it will be. There is no judgment in manifestation. There is only and always reflection. When you shift your internal state, the entire world must shift in response. The doors that once seemed locked to you will swing open effortlessly. The opportunities that seemed unavailable will suddenly appear. Money will follow the one who is certain of its presence. Why? Because the mind that is free of doubt, the contradiction, becomes a perfect, clear channel through which the infinite supply flows. Doubt, fear, and worry are the static on the line. They are contradictions. They are you standing in the doorway, blocking the very thing you claim to want. It is not enough to affirm abundance if the feeling of lack still lingers within. Words are only powerful when they are backed by unwavering belief. The subconscious does not hear what is spoken. It responds to what is deeply felt. If you say, I am wealthy, yet feel scarcity, the dominant assumption of lack will always prevail. The law is only reflecting your dominant belief. Feeling is the key that unlocks manifestation. The one who feels rich will experience richness. The one who feels poor will experience poverty. There is no other determining factor except your own dominant state of being. You must live from the end. This is not about visualization alone. It is about assumption. When you assume you are already in possession of wealth, you move differently, you think differently, you radiate a different energy. Money is drawn to this certainty. The external world is forced to conform. This is the operation of the law. It is not you changing the world. It is you changing your self-concept, and the law as the perfect mirror reflecting that change. The world has no choice, it must reflect you. This is not philosophy. This is the physics of the Spirit. We have now traveled the entire path. We began at the foundation that your consciousness, your I am, is the one and only reality, and that money is not an external object to be chased, but an internal state to be embodied. We move to the law of assumption, the mechanism by which you feel your way into a new reality. We tore down the false idol of effort, understanding that alignment, not struggle, is the creative principle. We faced the only adversary, the inner contradiction, the divided mind that serves two masters. We defined the one true work as the mental persistence to live in the end. And we have examined the impersonal, perfect operation of the law, which reflects your dominant assumption without judgment. And now we arrive at the conclusion, not an end, but a beginning. We arrive at the great simplification, the revelation that all this journey was leading to. The truth is simple. Man, in his love of complexity, has obscured it. He has built cathedrals of ritual and libraries of dogma to hide the one simple fact that the kingdom of heaven is within him, that God is his own wonderful human imagination. The truth is simple. What you assume, you become. What you believe, you experience. What you expect, you receive. The world does not happen to you. This is the great slumber of humanity. This is the illusion of victimhood. The world, your world, is not an external force acting upon you. It is an internal force acting through you. Your world is yourself, pushed out, objectified in space. Every person, every condition, every circumstance is a reflection of a belief, a feeling, an assumption that you hold as true within your I am. When you truly, deeply accept this, the entire paradigm of your life shifts. You stop being the effect and you become the cause. You stop being the reflection in the mirror and you become the image that casts it. This brings us to the great liberation. Wealth is not something that must be earned. It is something that must be accepted. The idea of earning wealth is part of the illusion of effort, which we dismantled in part 3. It is born of the state of lack, which we identified in part 1. To earn implies you do not have. It implies you are a servant who must perform a task to be given a reward by an external master. But I say to you, there is no external master. You are the master. Wealth is your birthright. It is not a reward for your good behavior or your hard work. It is the natural, effortless outflowing of your alignment with the frequency of money. You do not earn the air you breathe. You do not work to make your blood circulate. It is a given. It is a function of your being alive. In the same way, abundance is a function of your awareness. When you are aware of being wealthy, when you assume you are wealthy, the experience of wealth flows as naturally and as effortlessly as breathing. The only barrier, the only one, is the belief in separation. This is the contradiction which we explored in part 4. In its most basic form, the belief that you are here and money is over there. The belief that you are poor and wealth is something you must get. This belief in separation is the illusion. There is no separation between you and money. There is only the awareness of its presence or the awareness of its absence. And that awareness is your choice. The moment you declare, I am, in the frequency of money, and feel it, you are shifting your world. You are dissolving the illusion of separation. You are accepting your birthright. The old conditions no longer matter. The past has no power. The facts of your senses are dead shadows of old assumptions. Your present assumption is the only creative power. The moment you fully accept your wealth, your entire world begins to transform to reflect it. And this leads to the final state, the destination of our entire journey. There is nothing to chase. There is nothing to strive for. There is only something to be. The man who is chasing money is in the state of I am, not wealthy. The man who is striving for money is in the state of I am, struggling. These are the assumptions the law is faithfully reflecting. To be wealthy, you must first assume that you already are. This is the great paradox and the great truth. You must be it before you can see it. How does one be wealthy when the senses deny it? You be it in your imagination, which is the one and only reality. You stop the chase. You stop the hunt. You stop the desperate doing. And you enter the quiet, powerful state of being. What does this mean, to be? It means the need is gone. You cannot need what you are. Do you need to be human? No. You simply are human. The need for wealth is the very thing that keeps it from you, for it is a powerful assumption of lack. When you assume you are wealthy, the need for it vanishes. It is replaced by a quiet knowing. It is replaced by the feeling of being it. I am is the key to all creation. I am is not a weak phrase. It is the name of God. It is the declaration of existence. Whatever you attach to I am, you become. I am poor, and the world bends to reflect it. I am struggling, and the doors close to confirm it. I am wealthy, and the universe moves to prove it. When you step into the awareness that I am in the frequency of money, you are not hoping, you are not wishing, you are claiming your divine right to abundance. You are being the state, and because you are it, it is. The secret, the entire secret, has always been within. There is nothing to do to get wealth. There is only the awareness of wealth to be embodied. Think of a master actor who is called upon to play the part of a king. He does not try to be a king. He does not hope to be a king. He studies the king. He feels what the king feels. He thinks as the king thinks. He enters the stage, and for that time he is the king. His every gesture, his every word, his every thought flows from the assumption that he is the king. And the audience, responding to his assumption, sees a king. You must do the same. You are not pretending to be wealthy. You are assuming the part. You are being the wealthy man, the wealthy woman in your imagination. You are thinking from that state. You are feeling from that state. And the world, which is your audience, must respond. It must see the king you have assumed yourself to be. It must bring you the royal treatment. This is not chance. This is law. The truth is simple. Whatever you assume, you become. Whatever you believe, you experience. Whatever you expect, you receive. There is no separation between you and money. There is only your awareness of its presence. When you truly know this, when you embody this, wealth flows to you as effortlessly, as naturally as breathing. So let go of the struggle. Let go of the chase. Let go of the doing. The secret has always been within. There is nothing to do. There is only something to be. Be in the frequency of money. And because you are, it is. The truth has been spoken. You are the sole creative power in your own universe. Your I am is the beginning and the end. To be reminded of this truth, to remain faithful to the law when the world of shadows screams otherwise, I invite you to subscribe. This channel is a constant reminder a dedicated space for this singular understanding. Subscribe now and awaken every day to the power that you are.